Hello, this is J. Stephen Roberts of Real Crusades History, and this is just going to be a quick announcement. Several months back, as a lot of you know, I actually released my first novel. A novel of the Crusades, a historical novel set during the reign of King Baldwin II of Jerusalem in the 1120s. The name of that book was Why Does the Heathen Rage? And that was Real Crusades History's first book released, and our hope has been that we would be releasing more books. And well, the time has come for us to, in fact, release our second book. And that is going to be one written by my good friend and one of my partners at Real Crusades History, Mr. Scott Amos. Scott's book is called To Shine with Honor. And it is a novel, a historical novel, set just prior to the First Crusade, in fact. Now, Scott will be familiar to a lot of you who are regular listeners. He appears on the podcast at times. He's also a fairly regular presence on the Facebook page and the Facebook group for Real Crusades History. He's pretty much kind of our main admin on those two forums. And Scott has really just been a tremendous presence for Real Crusades History. He's been a huge part of what we've been doing, and he's really contributed a great deal to the project. Scott and I met really as a result of, both of us were interested in writing historical fiction set during the Crusades, and we were both working on books at the time that we started interacting on Real Crusades History. At that time, Real Crusades History was a solo project by me, and Scott was posting there, and he and I started exchanging messages and realized how much we had in common, and Scott really jumped in and became a part of the Real Crusades History project, the Real Crusades History organization, if you will, and he's really been a key figure for us ever since then. So I think this is a big moment for Scott and a big moment for Real Crusades History. I'm very excited that now we have two books that we can offer, my novel and now Scott's novel. So Scott's novel, it's called To Shine with Honor, and as he likes to say, it does take a very different approach from my book, whereas my novel focused more on some of the main historical figures from the Kingdom of Jerusalem in the 1120s, like Baldwin II of Jerusalem, Jocelyn I of Edessa, Princess Melisande, figures like that. Scott's novel focuses in more on an imagined knightly family of minor nobility in France in the period of time leading up to the First Crusade. So Scott has a lot of interest in the late 11th century, especially kind of how the First Crusade impacted the Western world. And so this was a vision that he had of wanting to explore what, your average knightly family, not, one of the major players like, the king or his sons or some of the high-level counts or something like that, but in fact kind of zeroing in on sort of the average knight and his children, his small lordship, and how that functioned, how that operated in the late 11th century, and how the preaching of the First Crusade really impacted individuals like that, and how it moved them, and how it drove them to pick up the cross and pick up their swords and travel to the Holy Land on this great new expedition. And in fact, the preaching of the First Crusade, first by Pope Urban II and then other preachers, that really is the focus of Scott's novel, and he has characters who are moved by this, who take up the cross, and this family that he focuses on, really, their entire world is changed by the First Crusade and by the calling of the First Crusade, and it's really fascinating to read. So again, I'm just really excited about this moment for Real Crusades History. I think it's a great thing for us. And I think it's obviously a huge accomplishment for Scott. Way to go, Scott. You were able to finish this book. It's always a huge thing for any author once you get to the end of a book and not only are you finished with it, but you actually offer it up for the public to read. So I really hope that those of you who follow us here on Real Crusades History will give this book a try and check it out. I think it's going to be worth it. So again, congratulations to Scott, and thanks to everybody who's been following Real Crusades History. Thanks to all of you who purchased my book and who are planning on purchasing my book. I really appreciate that. I appreciate having you as readers, as well as listeners and viewers here on Real Crusades History. And I know that if you pick up Scott's novel, To Shine with Honor, which is available now, there's going to be a link in the About box of this video, which will allow you to pick up this book. I know that if you pick that book up, you're going to love it. So thanks.